Is Gabriel Jesus about to leave Man City, and are we about to be left without a single recognised striker? Yes, people, welcome back to the 1894 for a brand new transfer video. We've got a lot to talk about today. It's been a week since we last uploaded, so let's get right into it. Right, so let's get into the outgoings first. There's only really two to talk about today, and one is confirmed. The first being Lukas Nmecha has gone to Wolfsburg for £11 million. He was an up-and-coming prospect in the academy, rated pretty highly, but I think he just felt he wasn't going to get the game time he wanted at Manchester City. And obviously the Bundesliga is quite clearly a great place to go for young players. But as I said, it is a shame we've lost him, but on his way out, he did leave us with a slight hint, which I think is well worth noting, and myself and Joe can have a bit of a talk about it, because it kind of, I think it's fair to say, as City fans, especially on Twitter, you'll see that we're pretty starved for transfer hints or information, and Lucas might have just given us some. He says he thinks Man City will sign a big-name striker, which is why he won't get the game time he wants. Joe, what do you make of this? Do you think this is a genuine hint and he's been given information that we don't already know and maybe he shouldn't have said that, or is it just kind of his way of saying, I just wanted to leave?
It could be his way of saying he just wants to leave, because according to the media, with all the links that we've had with different strikers, to him it looks like we are going to sign someone and he knows his game time would be limited. So it could just be a very poor way, if we're going to be honest, because if anything, it's just going to increase prices now that clubs know we're looking for someone, even though it's evident that we are. But it could be just his way of saying, I was going to stand no chance of getting much football, if at all any, especially in the league. Maybe he got some in the cups. We'll never know because he's gone now. But it could be a sign that we are going to sign someone. But, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that we should do. And we will sign, I believe we will sign one marquee player, and hopefully it is a striker.
You would have thought for an up-and-coming striker through the City Academy right now, particularly literally right now, your potential and your optimism is at an all-time high. Sergio Aguero has just left the club. Jesus isn't really firing for City. There's kind of questions over whether he'll be a winger or a striker. So players like Nmecha and Delap, like right now, you would have thought it was the best time for them to be like, this is my chance to get in. So it is quite surprising that Nmecha wants to leave and obviously has got his move. Wish him all the best in Wolfsburg. But the fact that he said Man City will sign a top striker, it means he's had the conversation with Pep. He's had the conversation probably with Cheeky, maybe Khaldoon, and said, listen, am I going to get a chance? And they may have said, we're going to sign a big striker, which will obviously limit your opportunities. It'll be being like behind Prime Aguero once again, where you feel as a young player you're just not going to get the chance. So basically what we're saying, is this a hint? We're going to sign Kane? Are we going to sign Haaland? I don't know. I'm not saying yes because I'd be giving you false hope. Anyways, moving on to our other outgoing. It's not confirmed, nothing confirmed. The papers are just starting to talk. And from Calcio Mercato here, I have Calcio Mercato Italia, two tweets here, Italian newspaper, on Gabriel Jesus. Juventus proposed to sign Gabriel Jesus on a loan with an option to buy from Man City. There will be a steep loan fee paid to City. Now, this is an interesting one because we have a second tweet here which almost kind of contradicts it a little bit. Man City want to make money on the 24-year-old and want to make in excess of £50 million through a sale. This is quite a lot of money. I've also seen outside these two tweets the figure £43 million thrown around, that's where Man City allegedly have valued Gabriel Jesus. And I think it would make sense. The loan with option to buy probably doesn't make as much sense as the actual wanting to make money off him, because it's quite clear with the sale of all these young players. I think today I saw a report at 62.5 million we've raised just through the sale of young academy players and just squad fringe players as well, that we want to raise money to possibly sign someone like Kane or Haaland, who I mentioned a few minutes ago. Joe, what do you make of the idea of Jesus leaving? Obviously, throughout the last season, I made it clear, and I think Darren made it clear as well. I'm not actually sure where you stand, that I'm not his biggest fan. He's not for me. I think he's a really talented player. I just don't think he suits us, and I think he will prosper wherever he does go.
Consistently inconsistent is what I'd say. He's good on his day, but fans are still divided on where his best position is. And to me, that tells you he's not good enough for either. Especially with the players that we have out wide, he's not better than them. And through the middle, if we sign someone, he will immediately become second choice because he's just not good enough in front of goal. So I would be very for the idea of selling him. I wouldn't be for the idea of loaning him. I think pointless. I think we just need to cash in and get the money for him because we do need to sign players. So we do just need the cash. So There's been some absolutely bonkers reports saying that a Ronaldo swap is on the cards. I believe none of that at all. And if I'm going to be completely honest, for how good a player Ronaldo is, I wouldn't want him because he's a freak of nature. But 35, we need someone who's going to last a little bit longer. Yeah, but I'd ship Jesus on. I don't see him being a starter, squad player at best. The players in front of him are just too good for him to make too much of an impact.
Me personally, I feel that if we do get offered anywhere between 43 and 50 million pounds for Jesus, I'd bite the hand off it. I don't think he's good enough. I know a lot of people will disagree with me on that. I know a lot of people on Twitter and probably in our comment section every so often we get people saying, no, we should keep Jesus. They're quite sentimental about him. And granted, he has had some very good moments in City jerseys, most notably the Centurions moment, and a few decent goals here and there. The Real Madrid games, he was very good 2 seasons ago. But he's simply not good enough. I mean, he's not good. He's not clinical enough, first of all, to be our out-and-out striker, which is why we are most likely in the market for a big striker. And then I've seen people saying, well, no, give him another season on the wing. Well, yeah, he probably is a better winger, but is he going to take the place of Mahrez? No. Sterling, no. Foden, no. Even Ferran Torres, probably not. So I think the best decision right now, after 4 years of Jesus, remember, let's not forget, he's just done 2 seasons in a row where he went 9 games consecutively without scoring. So I think he's not for us. He's not what we need. Good player, will probably prosper at somewhere like Juventus, where it's a different style of play. They function differently. He'll have different pressures on him than what he has at City. I think it's time for us to cash in, as Joe said. But with that said, let's move on to the incomings. Okay, in terms of incomings, we've got 4 players to talk about. 4 pretty exciting players as well, if you ask me. They're pretty big names. And the first one being one of the standout players of Euro 2020 tournament, which is Federico Chiesa. Started off on the bench for Mancini's Italy, who obviously went on to win it. But as the tournament went on, he really grew into it and he really caught the eyes of world football, and he was absolutely fantastic. Got a tweet here once again from Calcio Mercato Italia. Man City have joined the race with Chelsea and Bayern Munich to sign Federico Chiesa from Juventus. Now, how true this is, I absolutely don't know. Whether I want it to happen or not is I do. I'd love to see Chiesa at City in theory, but would he fit into our team in terms of the amount of players we have in that position? I don't know. I think if he is to go anywhere, it will probably be Bayern Munich, because I think it just suits him the most. But in all honesty, I think he's going to stay at Juventus. I'm pretty sure his father may have played for Juventus. He is Italian. Juventus are the Italian giants. I think he's staying there. Joe, really quickly, it's a weird one. Chiesa.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the reported price tag of Juventus. They do not want to sell at all. They have no intention. I've seen a price tag of like 100 million euros. So as far as I'm concerned, he will stay at Juventus. I don't believe we should be in for him. How good he is, yes, of course, he's a great player. He's still very young. But we have enough players in them positions. And if we're talking about offloading Jesus, then, we don't need any more, because if we needed backup, then surely we'd just keep him.
Yeah, I mean, if we didn't have the type of quality players we have, or the amount of quality players we have in that position, maybe I'd say this could be a great transfer to pursue. But at this moment of time, he's just not what we need. It would be kind of like a luxury signing, but it'd be really over the top, and I personally don't see it happening. But who knows? Weird things have happened. Now, moving on to our second incoming, it's back in the striker position. Obviously, the striker position is the one that City fans are talking about the most with the departure of Sergio Aguero. And this man, Danny Ings, his name's been thrown around quite a lot in the last few months. And amongst Kane, amongst Haaland, Danny Ings, his name has stayed in the conversation. Now, according to The Athletic, Southampton are not willing to sell rumoured Man City target Danny Ings this summer, despite rumoured uncertainty over his future at the Saints. Now, Danny Ings is not a young man. I think, if I'm not mistaken, is he about 28, 29, 30, that kind of area. He probably feels he's done 2 good seasons now at Southampton, where he scored quite a few goals. He actually is a really, really good striker, and he probably feels it's now time for him to test himself outside Southampton and maybe have a go winning some silverware. I've seen other reports saying that if he is to leave Southampton, either City or United are the 2 preferred destinations. But it seems like Southampton really want to hold on to their prized possession. I don't know how I feel about this. I think, obviously, I've said in previous videos, I really want Harry Kane. Obviously, I love Erling Haaland as well, but, we can all dream. I don't think I'd be fully against Danny Ings if all else failed, but he's not my number 1 target either. Joe, what are your thoughts?
Backup at best for me. I wouldn't go near him. He's got trouble with injuries. He's had multiple ACLs. I'm almost certain he has over his career. He's 29. He's not getting any younger. He has refused to sign a contract, and I think it does run out in 12 months, if I'm right. I think it is 12 months. So it's an option, but it's very much the last option, the option of if all others fail. But I think if all of us fail, we just stick out the false nine for another season. I would rather give Ferran Torres a go at striker than sign Danny Ings, because why not? Why not?
I could only see this happening in a panic situation whereby Pep literally decides, I want a striker, and then Kane can't happen, Haaland obviously can't happen, maybe Lukaku is another player that talked about can't happen, and then the club go, right, we'll just get Danny Ings, he's got 12 months on his contract, probably won't cost an arm and a leg, and he can score goals if he stays fit. That's the only scenario where I see Danny Ings coming to City. But listen, he's obviously in dispute with Southampton over the future of his career at Southampton, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes down. Well, I think if this was to happen, it will be very, very late in the transfer window. It won't be anytime soon. I think if we do sign a striker anytime soon, it'll be because we've concluded a deal for Harry Kane. Now, moving on to the third incoming we want to talk about, which is one we've done quite a bit of content on because it is a high-profile one. It's one that I'm personally very excited about if it is to happen, but it seems to be in the balance right now. It's 50-50. Jack Grealish, the Aston Villa captain, the man who caught the imagination of the English public during Euro 2020, despite the fact he didn't play a huge amount of football. Now, he has been linked with City for quite some time. Rumoured since February, March, some say. Anyway, a tweet here from Nico Shearer. As always, you guys can decide how reliable these are. Would love to know what you think down in the comments below. Jack Grealish to Man City is almost done with a contract running up until 2026. Now, a week ago, I would have said this seems very true. This seems like this is really in the realms of possibility because he's been linked so heavily. Throughout the Euros, people were saying it's possibly a done deal or as good as a done deal. But then the bombshell was dropped, Joe, about 2 or 3 days ago that he's possibly getting cold feet. Now, we have to bear in mind Jack Grealish is Birmingham born and bred. He is Mr. Aston Villa. I think his grandfather played for Aston Villa and he is now the club captain. They are reportedly trying to offer him a contract, an extension on his contract, even though he's got something like 5 years on it left anyway, where he'll just earn more money. They're not short of money, Aston Villa. So in terms of that's in terms of finances, I don't think we're going to have like a competition there. It'll just be, we'll offer similar money. But it's his aspirations is what's going to determine which way this balances out. Does he want to win trophies? Does he want to, really, really challenge for Premier Leagues? As I think most young English footballers dream of growing up. You play in your schoolyard with your friends. You talk about things. You winning trophies, FA Cups. He's got a better chance at City than he does at Villa. Let's be real. No offence to Villa. Big fan of the club. Think it's a great club. Great history. You don't have the chance to win a silverware that we do. So Grealish has to decide, does he want that opportunity or does he want to be like a Matt Letizia type player, just a club legend, great legacy, and will always be loved by that fan base. There's so many narratives here and there's so many angles to kind of cover, which we're not going to cover them all. We could do another separate video on this. But Joe, where do you stand on the Jack Grealish situation?
An interesting one because it's starting to get like the Kane situation where the stories kind of flip in every few days, maybe every few weeks, where he's going to sign, he's not going to sign. Aston Villa's owners don't need the money. They're one of the richest in the league. He's a Villa fan from Birmingham, club captain. He's captain of his boyhood club. You could understand why he's a bit hesitant to leave. There's reports saying that they're going to try and tie him down to another contract extension, even though he's only recently signed one, just to make sure that he stays. And obviously, there is the whole thing of the law of Champions League football does come into account. A lot of players see themselves wanting to play at that sort of level. We do have that better chance of winning silverware, at least in terms of the league. But with the signings that Villa are making and the progress that they're making, they've signed Buendia. Who else? They're rumoured to be signing Leon Bailey as well. They're making good transfers. Emi Martinez is a great keeper. They've got a good defence. Each only going up for them. So you could see why his head's been turned slightly because, although we'll be playing in the Champions League, there's a significant chance that Aston Villa can be challenging for at least the Conference League, if not the Europa League.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. I fully agree. There is every possibility they will, but there's also every possibility they won't. And the thing is, Jack Grealish is not in the same boat as, say, Phil Foden or Mason Mount. He's not really young. He's not, Jadon Sancho or Jude Bellingham. He's 25, going on 26. Does he really want to take the risk of we could qualify for Conference League, maybe even Europa League in a complete crazy season? But they're not getting Champions League. I'm sorry, they're not getting Champions League. They're not better than Liverpool, Chelsea, ourselves, even United. So I just don't see that happening. And I think he's got a decision to make. I know he's on holiday right now. He's pretty active on social media. It looks like he's having a good time. So we probably won't get much clarity on this situation for quite a while. And this whole cold feet narrative that's being pushed now could possibly be just the papers trying to fill themselves. You know what I mean? I mentioned earlier on in the video that we're starved for transfer news. This could be them just trying to give us transfer news and get their papers talked about and that sort of thing. Who actually knows? I really do hope Jack Grealish comes. I still think there is a great chance he will come. I mean, at the end of the day, you mentioned yourself, the lure of Champions League. It's the creme de la creme of European football. It's where all top players want to be. And he ain't going to get that with Aston Villa, and he is a top player and he deserves to play there the same way Harry Kane deserves to play there, and which is why we're hoping he refuses to do his pre-season at Spurs and comes to us and pushes his way out to play that Champions League football, and hopefully get us that first Champions League as well. But anyway, we'll park Jack Grealish there for the minute. We may do another actual specific Jack Grealish video if more news comes out, because it's quite an exciting one. Like I said, I'm very excited about it. But anyway, the final incoming of the day is Nuno Mendes, the left back, the highly rated Portuguese left back who has once, similar to Grealish, been rumoured linked with us for quite some time. Got two tweets here, one from Sport Witness. Man City are preparing a new offer of between 30 million and 35 million for Nuno Mendes. There's insistence that Sporting will not negotiate for that as they continue to demand 50 million euro, helped by a release clause in his contract of 70 million. And then to follow on from this, Martin Blackburn from The Sun says Man City have insisted that Nuno Mendes is not and has never been a target for them. These are both completely different type tweets, completely contradicting. I'm inclined to agree, even though it's possibly slightly less reliable with Martin Blackburn, that he's not a target for us. I think we've got bigger fish to fry. We have plenty of players who can play and are left backs. Obviously, Benjamin Mendy will be hoping that if he's still at the club, that he can have a similar season to what John Stones had last season, where he really just rejuvenates himself and breaks into the team. Zinchenko, let's be real, the guy's a left back now. We bought him when he was 18 for 1.5 million as a midfielder, and he's now a left back. He's played his best football in the last 2-3 years as a left back. And then let's not forget you got Nathan Ake, who was injured for a huge part of last season. He may convert into a left back option. I don't see City willing to spend between 50 and 70 million for a left back, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, there's no point, because even if Mendy does leave, we've got enough cover there to go a year without, and then he's always going to be available because he's always got that release clause. So he's always on the table unless someone else pays that. And there's no point. I would rather, I think I said this before we started recording, I would rather give Benjamin Mendy another year just to see if he can stay fit and, be a backup. Because he's not getting past Zinchenko. He's too consistent. He's not. But if he's fit enough, he can stay as a backup. No problem with that whatsoever. So I'd rather save 50 million and see if Mendy can keep himself fit, because our last £50 million left back was Mendy. So I'd rather, I think 50 million for an 18-year-old, it's absurd considering, would he even be first choice?
I absolutely agree, mate. And just to add to that, if we already had a top striker, not that we bought this summer, we just had one in the ranks, and we weren't linked with Grealish, and we were in dire need of a left back, I may say, you know what, yeah, splash the 50 million on this really up and coming left back prospect in Nuno Mendes. But like I said at the start of this Mendes conversation, we have bigger fish to fry. If we are actively pursuing a 100 million transfer or 90 million transfer for Jack Grealish, and if Harry Kane is to come, that will cost in the region of 120 to 140, 50. We ain't spending another 60 or so on a left back, an 18-year-old left back. It would be just crazy. That's not our club. The City don't even operate financially in a way that traditionally we'd sign Grealish and Kane in one summer, spend that kind of money. Never mind Grealish, Kane, Mendes. We're clearly trying to sell young players to raise funds to get Grealish or Kane or both. I can't see Nuno Mendes happening. But do let us know down in the comments your thoughts on all these transfers, all the outgoings, all the incomings. I think it's been a relatively quiet week, but nevertheless, we've had 6 players to talk about here today. So yeah, leave a like in the video if you enjoyed it. Do subscribe if you're new. We've just hit over 300 subs. Our goal for the summer has been smashed. Thank you so much, all of you who have showed the support. Next goal is 350. So if you're new around here, do help us on that journey. We have some fantastic content coming up this season. The season is right around the corner. We've got brand new, fresh ideas to bring to you. So get in nice and early and join the community. We will see you very, very soon for more updates. Good night. God bless.